Holy man, we're recording already.
Who's there?
I don't know. We got people.
Yeah.
I can't see anything with my glasses on.
Hello, Brad here.
That's Brad. I can see because he's got Brad under his face. Are you the only one there? Okay, switch views.
Should be able to.
Oh,
Oh,
there.
look at that. There's people. Look at that. Dave's there.
Dave is there.
6
Yeah.
people now.
This other's just other screens. There you go. All right.
Can they hear you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Wave if you can hear us.
Good day, Dave.
All
There
right.
we go. So we don't have to hit anything. We don't have to hit tap
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah, we're good.
Tell them about the situation.
They don't need to know about the situation.
They need to know.
Do they need to know?
I don't know. It's up to you.
We could wait.
Wait.
So we went to the pond to test the Virginia. Got her in the water about 10.
10:30.
And it's still in the water. And we've got some helpers, some little elves with pressure regulators.
Dyer's down.
Yeah,
Gray lady down, boys.
yeah. So that's super exciting. We've been out here all day in 93-degree weather, 93% humidity. Haven't eaten since 6 o'clock.
So thirsty. So thirsty.
So what we're probably going to do, because we still need to coordinate with the divers, is just let you guys go, because it's going to be a little difficult and problematic to keep it going. They're going to tap in about 20 or 30 minutes. So if they don't find it, it's going to sit there for a while until Plan Delta comes into effect.
Steve shave.
Yeah, I did.
Steve shave. Not cool, Steve. Not cool.
Hey guys, this is
Contrary, it is cooler. So I'm sorry, I just turned on when you said the word diver, which I know what you're meaning, but which boat and why?
It's your Virginia, your former Virginia. That was fully done, tested, upgraded, perfectly trimmed as of yesterday in the pool. Brought it out here, performed flawlessly. We were out, we did a nice low speed dive, and it just went just like straight down.
dude.
So
Man.
we think, because the divers have been telling us it's really thick weeds, like 2 feet of weeds at the bottom. By the time the fail-safe kicked in and it started coming back up, she might have caught grass. So now she's snaggle-toothed did. And what's super exciting is the fail-safe's blowing. So, you know, full rise on the planes and stop the propeller and center the rudder and blow ballast. So that poor pump was probably just cycling and cycling and cycling until the battery died, which 5 amp battery and 300 milliamps. So
Yeah.
So she sleeps with the fishes.
It did not burn. I don't think it drained the battery. I think it burned the pump out.
And you're right. They have seen a lot of perch in the water. Some that big.
That are eating them, nibbling on them. And we heard, but did not relate to them, that there may or may not be a 6-foot alligator that likes to swim in this water.
Yes, the submarine is more important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than their health or safety.
We'd already seen him if you've been there.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
I think that guy would just be at Synchro.
It could be. He was a maintenance guy, but at any rate, we got to manage our dive team. So you guys can, once we sign off, you can laugh at 2 very experienced RC submariners that just lost submarine.
So thirsty. So thirsty.
Will the Zoom still be up?
Yes, it should be. When I sign off, I'll just assign it to somebody.
Hey, this is Charlie. I just joined. Wasn't that a movie line? You lost another submarine, Bob?
I can't.
Yeah, you lost another submarine.
Yeah, not the first,
man.
not the last.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
You'll get it back.
Well,
Be confident. Be confident. You got it. You're the man.
we hope. If so, it'll be the first time in 25 years I came home without a boat in the stands. All right. You guys have a good time. I'm going to try and sign off here.
Thanks, Bob.
You bet.
Good luck.
They're looking in the right place, man.
Yeah, I think they're in the right spot.
Still on, Bob.
I know. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of here.
Not that we don't like you.
I'm on. This is like I'm on my phone for the first time ever. Just ignore me.
Good hunting, Bob.
Hey, I have a question. Maybe the group can answer it. I got an Engel Gato, and what I want to do is disconnect the open up the one end of the pump, the cylinder, that tube, and I want to vent it overboard out a snorkel instead of pressurizing the inside of the hull. What anybody got any thoughts on that? No thoughts. Will it work? Won't it work? Check valve.
Yeah, if I understand you right, I know sometimes it's problematic to build up pressure inside the pressure hull as the piston pulls water in and
Yeah.
pressurizes the compartment. So blowing it out's good, but then something has to stop water from being sucked back into that compartment when the piston, pushes the water back out.
What you would do to balance it the same as the, say, for example, the R&R WTC skipjacks and such, you would just do a slightly positive, balanced, and then it would, as long as your snorkel was above water, you'd have to have some sort of fail safe, maybe prevent loss. But I've lost a few. But you know what I'm talking about there, Steve?
Yeah, no, I do. It just when you've got something that's actively trying to pump water into your pressure hull, you got to be really, really, really sure. Instead of just with the ones you're describing, you're just going to recirculate water through the pump and the ballast tank and back out to the water.
Yeah, just the air will be the only thing coming and going. The piston will pull out in water and displace the air into the chamber, which will vent overboard and say to a snorkel. And then when I want to,
so it begs Charlie, it begs the question, why do you need to do this when Engel boats are pretty successful the way they are with other slight misgivings? But
yes, because I like to be odd. I don't know. I don't know that I want to pressurize that cylinder. It just requires all this extra, and it's a used boat. And I was just thinking outside the box. I mean, I can run it the way it is. It's not a big deal, but it was just a thought.
So you're talking about using the existing Engel watertight box with the removable lid with 500 screws in it.
Yeah, I mean, I got one with and one without, and the one with has most everything in it except the wiring's kind of screwed up. But I mean, I thought it might be worth getting it running, and if it started giving me trouble for when you pressurize that box with all that stuff going on, if it's not perfect, you're blowing bubbles and then you're taking on water. So I thought maybe if we kept it to a low pressure system all the way through, and I thought that might do it. It's just a thought.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, true on that one, David Merriman. True on that one. So, all right. Just thinking outside the box because I got a lot of work to do to get it running. But all right, sounds good. That's all I got, guys.
Can I chime in on the Engel boat question?
Yes, please.
I have quite a lot of experience with Engel boats, and as designed, they work really, really well. I would not change that. If you've got bubbles coming out somewhere when it gets pressurized, something's wrong. You just fix that. The only real negative with their design, including the Gato, is the aluminum lid. So, typically people replace a polycarbonate 1/4 inch lid. and usually maybe make the hatch bigger or whatever you need to do there.
Okay.
But the piston tank system is good. It works really well. It has some big advantages, a few disadvantages, but the pressurization in some ways it's beneficial to a submarine because you're underwater, so it's pressurized in and outside.
Okay.
So
Good.
Kind of keeps
Good thoughts. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Well, I got to get her up and powered up and stuff. And actually I have to pull everything out and make sure everything works outside the boat. The one of the motors, they put these crappy bearings in it. I don't know. There's like a phenolic bearing and one of them was seized up and one motor was drawing something like 6 amps. So I was, well, okay, well, let's disconnect it, see if the motor draws 6 amps. One was drawing like just under 1 or half an amp or something. The other one was like really running. And I was like, oh man. One of those bearings was shot, so I'll get new shafts and stainless steel shafts and some oil light bushings and stuff from say Harbor Models or something like that, and get that dialed in, and then I'll get those.
That is a common failing for them as well, is they usually come with the gearboxes and motors already pre-built, and they work good, but they don't mention anything about lubricating them or maintenance on them, and they will do that. The shaft will start to seize up to the bearing. So,
yeah, and it's copper or brass or something. David, did you have something?
Yeah, you got bubbles coming up upon pressurization, right?
Well, no, I haven't done anything yet. I haven't run it up, but I can tell by the looks of it, it will probably leak through either the motor shaft stuffings or any of those parts like that because they're not, well, they kind of wiggle around even though the bolts are tight. So I'm thinking they're wallered out.
Wait. Have you put it in the bathtub, pressurized it, and identified where bubbles are coming out?
No, sir, not yet. I'm just getting ready to do that here in a couple days.
This is all horseshit until you define the problem.
All right, I can do that. I'm trying to think ahead.
The problem.
I will do that, yes.
Right.
But I got to get it together, and I'm trying to think ahead and look at it and say, okay, what do I need to check here, here, and here?
You're over analyzing this thing that hasn't even gone into water yet.
You're right about that. I'll get on it.
Keep it simple.
I'm trying.
No, you're not. You're a gadgeteer.
Oh, you're right about that.
Well,
I'm going a little hog wild here, thinking ahead.
just back up a few steps, take a breath, and take it one step at a time. Identify the problem. You don't even know if you have a problem.
Well, that's very true.
You're going to die young.
Leave a good looking corpse.
Hey, Charlie, is this the Gato you got in at Subfest?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you guys. It was a good purchase price, but there's like pieces of wood being used to block holes. And I'm like, okay, this needs some serious, I got to go over it real good here and make sure I'm not missing anything. It's pretty straightforward, but that openings and stuff are kind of making me a little bit thoughtful.
Yeah, and I know Bob has had some pretty good luck with just gutting that box out of there. Just cut it away, leave it as a bulkhead or a hull stiffener, and put a cylinder in. Something you can take out and work on. Something you can check in your bathtub because your 78-inch Gato is not going to fit in your bathtub. Of course, you're in Florida. You've probably got a massive swimming pool or something to test it in, but still.
Yeah, I got one of them horse troughs that's 8 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot or something like that. So
yeah, that's my small one.
Yeah. All right, I'll get it all. I'll bang it all together and run her up and see where she's leaking. If she's leaking, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some leaks, but we can fix that. I was just trying to think something fun and different, maybe later.
I think Steve hit the nail on the head with the Engel Gato is the biggest downside is it's heavy. It's really heavy to put in and out of the water. It's not impossible, but if you can live with that, I think the piston tanks are really cool. They do work really, really good.
Yeah, I was just thinking since everything's there, why not just run it up and maybe modify it a tiny bit? But I can run it up and plug it up and run it up and see how much, when I run those cylinders, how much pressure she builds up, and how she works.
Yeah,
see what happens from there.
Dave really, I think he's on the right track. If it's not too much work to at least try the boat and see, then you can make a decision. Oh no, way too much repair needed. I'm going to gut it. Or, hey, this looks promising. No leaks, or it's fittings that I can change and go on with that. Because there's always something to be learned. I said, I'm trying to think real hard if I've actually ever finished a boat that I started from scratch, but I have rebuilt and repaired a whole bunch of them. And there's things to be learned from doing that, like a whole lot of ways not to build a submarine, for example.
Yes.
I agree
but-
with that.
But that has a large compartment in it, and it has 2 pistons, I believe. And one thing I've noticed on, I have a smaller boat, a Bronco Type 23 with the Maximus model bow from Germany, 3D printed guts that uses a piston, but it also uses a little tiny 70 millimeter outer, acrylic shell that's only 2 millimeters thick. And it's a pretty good sized piston. And I just noticed during last summer that all of a sudden I had a whole bunch of longitudinal cracks in that acrylic casing, if you will. And it's like, okay, I'm a little concerned here that piston is really pressurizing the internals of that boat, because the outer sleeve is not a heck of a lot bigger, maybe twice the size of the piston itself. So I'm a little concerned that that's too much pressure, but I don't see that happening in the angles. They've actually probably done some math, and it probably works.
At least somebody did some math. So, all right, I'm good with it. Just wanted to get some input before I.
Did I lose you, Charlie? I can't hear you.
No, yeah, I just thought I'd do, get group input before I go any further. But like I said, it's pretty close to going together and powering up and throwing it on. I got to put the lid on. Actually, I got to repair all the nuts that hold the lid on before I can do anything. But yeah, I can get it in the water and test it out. So, all right. Can you hear me? Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yep, I can hear it now.
Oh, okay. I'll just run her up the way she is, like David said. He's got the knowledge. What you got there, Panzer?
Oh, I switched my camera around on accident. Yeah, my Panzer IV. Another unfinished project I inherited from somebody else. I was going to say earlier, when you said you bought your Gato at Subfest, not every time, but most of the time when I bought used subs, step number 1 is break out the hammer and chisel, and usually cracking things loose and doing it the way. It's not always that the person did it wrong, but I just want to do it the way I want it.
I agree.
Hey, you bought some subs from me, Jason. Come on.
I know, and yours were the best. You got any more for sale? Yours were all
Maybe.
pretty.
He's got a nice looking one on the mantle back there.
Yeah, that's the De Boer 148 scale, obviously Nautilus, 5 SSN 571. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous boat. I came by. It was actually in an estate sale in Portland, Oregon, when I lived in Seattle, and I contacted the people, and they wanted some just exorbitant amount to ship it. And I thought, well, I'll just drive down and get it. But money wasn't that good back then, so I told Bob about it. So Bob bought it, had it shipped from Portland to Naples, Florida, and so he had it for a while, and he never put it up for sale. But then, lo and behold, we both find ourselves in Texas, and I asked him, and he still had it. We came to an agreed upon price, and I drove down to Houston and picked it up, and it is just gorgeous. The person who built it clearly left all the hooks in there to convert to RC. It opens right up. The shafting's in there and free. The control surfaces all work. So it's a sometime before I die project.
I got one of those working about 15 years ago, and it's the most stately thing I ever drove.
I'm really looking forward to it because it's got that presence. It's just going to look great on the water. And you actually took yours, if I recall, and you took the arrowhead stern off and converted it to as launched.
Yeah,
And you think anybody who doesn't do that is a slacker?
worse, much worse. They should be flogged. They should look like the last reel of Lionheart.
And when hasn't that changed your opinion on anybody for any reason, Dave?
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, Tom, you're here. That's a nice a mellowing influence on the group. Thank you.
I thought David was a mellowing influence.
Okay.
Well, he
Did you
moves the
enjoy
needle. We just
drugs?
don't know which way.
So I have another question. Did it start late or is it 3 o'clock Texas time?
3 o'clock Texas time.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Did you see the part where Bob and Ed are out at the pond with a boat down? They're waiting for divers, I guess. So
Yeah. That's why we're unaccompanied right now. He's got to coordinate with the divers. So he just offloaded on the rest of us. So come on, guys, got to have some questions or inputs. I'm not going to stare at your mugs for an hour.
he's after the way you chewed Charlie a new one.
Hey, I'm just warming up.
Hey, that wasn't much of a tune. Yeah, that's right. That wasn't much of one from you, Dave, but it was good. I kind of deserved it.
I kind of enjoyed it.
I still got that picture I took of you with your one finger salute. I'm thinking I'll delete it so you don't have any bad press anywhere.
Don't worry about it. There's tons of those all over the place.
Oh yeah, we all have a picture of
Who
that.
doesn't have one?
Yeah.
Oh, I want mine autographed. I'm sending it up for an autograph then.
Even my wife
like-
has one.
It's like you strive to get one.
Hopefully Bob is recording this, and this is for Bob.
Mm.
Oh,
I even got one with the drone at Subfest.
Yeah. On the drone?
Yeah.
I actually threw a bird at the drone.
Yep.
Man, I was slumming that day.
I was flying it right at you and just waiting for you to do it.
You didn't have to wait long, did you?
No.
My
Hey,
favorite
what-
one I got is David. He's got his tongue sticking out of his yap, and he looks like Albert Einstein. His hair's all ruffled. It's like there's a fine line between insanity and genius, right? And you're doing this, so that goes to question right there.
Hey, who's going to this Subfest West? I'm going to try to make it.
Has he put out an official date for it yet?
Yeah.
What-
Date? I think so. I got it on the calendar here.
I think he's still got a poll up for 3 different
Yeah.
weekends. So it would be helpful to get a date soon
Howard,
because things are
you're the
planning.
guy, Howard. What's the deal?
Well, when I talked to him last weekend, yeah, it was that date that was like the first weekend in November, I think was the popular choice, he told me. And with a caveat, everybody, that he still had not cleared it with the facility yet. That he had left the information with this woman named Dakota, who runs the bookings for the facility. And he was still waiting to hear back. It had been a week and he was going to try her again. This was like on Wednesday. He said, I need to get a hold of her and I need to lock this date down. So I wouldn't go buy airplane tickets quite yet.
Okay.
So, but I mean, he's trying actively to get it and to get that date because he's committed.
Yeah. Howard, is there anything else on that proposed event you can share with us that might be useful?
Well, it all relies on us. I mean, if you bring into it the concept of what the place like is in Georgia, it doesn't have right there the amenities you're used to, the tables, the coverings. We're going to have to, as part of the event, and we can secure those, get tents, get tables, get the stuff right up near the docks where everybody will be happy. It does have a way to drive up right there to unload your stuff. So that's good. And there is a kind of you know, beachside / poolside cafe thing that does about the same food as what you would see in Georgia.
Now,
But a little, yeah.
Howard, are we gonna have to share this water with kids and other people jumping in to swim?
Well, A, it's out of season. B, where the docks are that we'll be going off. No, the beach is a couple 100 feet away. If you want to go into the beach, you could just wade in and run your boat. But we're working on, part of the proposal was getting some floating, I don't know what to call them. I'll call them bubbles or cones to make sure that nobody drifts in there or comes in there with a jet ski or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Although this is out of season, so she said,
Oh.
unless there's this car show, which is one of the things she was trying to nail down, make sure we didn't overlap. She said the place should be a ghost town.
Okay.
So.
It's the same for where I run the sub. When it's the school time frame, man, it's wide open. You may have 1 or 2 people, you know, that's there, but it's quiet. So I intend to go to this hotel and run a sub, and I'll videotape it and see what I can share.
Yeah, good.
So we're kind of talking that the November, the weekend that has November 8th in it then?
6th to 9th.
6th, 9th, okay.
That's the one he said had the most votes.
Okay.
Isn't it still 80 degrees roughly that time of year there?
Yes, it will be warm.
Well, let me share some life from here in Vegas. Up until October 31st, it's warm, and then everybody wants to go, you know, Halloween on the 31st in their, you know, shorts and stuff, and that's when we usually get a cold day where it goes stupidly cold all of a sudden, and everybody's in their parkas and you don't even see what their outfits look like. Then after that, it's a crapshoot. It just depends, but that early, it should be fine. It should be a nice mild weather.
Good, good.
The only other thing is,
let me clarify mild. I'm sorry, because when it's 110 degrees here, anything below 90 is mild, you know. But if you're coming from Michigan, 90 is like a, you know, a sweat zone for you. So I just put that caveat out there.
Good. Thanks.
the only other thing that we have to work with and find out, and it is published, is when the dam releases its water. The facilities are at its best when the water's up, right? High tide, so to speak. Because when it's really low and it can drop, it seems as much as 4 to 6 feet. You have less clearance, there's some seagrass at the bottom that, you know, you only have 2 feet clearance from, whereas when it's 6 feet high, you have quite a bit. So,
Howard, is this fresh water or brackish?
oh, it's fresh.
Fresh.
All right.
Yeah, it's very clear. Very clear. I mean, I think people have seen some of Tom's pictures and videos over the year, and it can be quite clear. It depends on the wind too. That's another thing.
I'm worried about
Temperature
salt content. Is there any salt? Now, this is what? This is off the Columbia?
No, the Colorado River.
Colorado, yeah, Colorado River, but it's well inland and it's all fresh, no salt.
No salt.
Okay.
It seems very nice. But Tom would know more than I do because he's run his boats in it.
Fine.
Yeah, Tom, you run not far from there, right? But closer to Vegas, I assume.
It's just across the river and maybe down slightly. So I mean, it's so close. I could almost throw a rock if I was a little bit strong.
Yeah, I've always been envious of your videos. It's nice. It's nice to be able to see your submarine.
It's freaking clear water. You know, the only time it gets really murky is if there's a lot of people. Like when I go during the summertime and there's been a lot of tourists around, you know, they kick up a little bit of silt. But this time frame, and if nobody's using it, you should have some amazing underwater photos.
Has anybody seen that enhanced video, the 4-minute one that Ken shot? So if you haven't, don't think you've already seen it. I think that first one was what, about a minute, Ken?
Yeah, the first one was a minute. The second one, the 4-minute one, Bob made up.
Yeah, that is some real good stuff.
And my 1-minute one is speeded up twice the speed, so everybody moves a little fast. I tried to get as much content in 1 minute for Instagram.
Well, that really looked good. Both of those things were real eye candy.
Hey, Howard, on another note, did you have any luck with Engel getting a replacement hull for the 212?
Yes.
Go on.
Could you elaborate?
Well, to buy a new boat is a thousand. I don't know what I think it's just dollars on the site. It's $1,000. A new hull's 400. Now it's still cheaper than 1,000. It's like, I thought that was a little high compared to all the other stuff that came with the boat, all the electronics and the motor and the piston and stuff. It's like, okay, but it's unpainted, so I can do whatever I want this time. It can be another crazy color, or it can go back to, being a fleet boat.
Well, by now, didn't Bob replace all the electronics anyway?
He's replaced the battery and the ESC and
the radio, the receiver.
Yeah. We're gonna try and put in it this time a little a depth controller, which will fit.
So when you got the hull kit, did you get just the forward hull or the entire hull?
I had to buy the whole thing.
Well, okay, so hopefully you got the new one, because the rear access to the controlling hinges is much larger now, which I'd be really envious of that.
Yes, it comes with a much larger, because they had the problem. I talked to Gregor. I called him on the phone. One night I stayed up very late and I called him and he was nice, and his English was surprisingly good, and he understood everything I was saying. And he mentioned that people had a hard time getting their fat fingers in there, and so they had made a different thing. But he said you had to get the whole thing. It wasn't like he was trying to gouge me for money, because he said the bayonet the new hull doesn't fit the old bayonet. So they've actually gone through 3 different hulls on that boat over the years. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Well, sounds like you came up with a solution.
Yeah, no, it's a solution, and after all this, that work. It's the most Frankenstein thing around.
So if you replace the head on your axe and the handle on your axe, is it still the same axe?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah. Is there any DNA left?
Yeah.
It was. Let's hope so. Because it's what I want to run in November. It's what I've got. So, but I'm curious.
That's exciting. I have one of those, and one of the last things to finish is working out the kinks in that linkage, and it's really hard through that little tiny opening. I must have the 2nd generation hull, but it was a shortcoming. I almost thought about ordering the hull, but I'll make it work.
Yeah, no, I remember one time Bob was working on it. His fingers were too big, so he had to get his son to go in there because his fingers were smaller to do something. I don't remember what it was. Well, he admitted it was a bad design. So
you guys bitching about getting your fat fingers into stuff. What a bunch of wussies. I mean, gee whiz.
Well, if we weren't here, who would you have to complain about?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, look at Jason. What is that, Jason?
So this
Steve,
is
we're in Texas. Sorry.
This is a 1/35th scale Beaver 1 submarine that I'm trying to RC. So it's very, very small, as you can see.
I tell you what, I've
Welcome
seen
to the
Jason
world of
RC
insanity.
your little tiny submarines, little tiny tanks. It's pretty amazing. That the one sub was that 1/125th Type 7 U-boat. It had just a single propeller, and it was designed to like free run in the water, but you RC'd it.
No, it was RC'd. So one of the first RC subs I ever made was a 1/200th scale Type 9. So, I mean, it was absolutely, I think a Type 9, because it's kind of long and skinny, it's still 6 inches long, but it was only half an inch wide. So, yeah. And it was 2 channels, throttle and rudder. That's all you got. If you gave it full throttle, it dived.
So Jason, I do want to apologize that I wasn't able to make that run last weekend, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
I had some family issues. I sent you a text, but I do want to say that every time I get near you, I come away buying something from you. So that probably is a good thing that I didn't show up.
I appreciate that. And thanks. So I did go to the run. I was the only, well, there was me and one other guy that had one of those camera drone submersibles. I forgot what it was called. Not the Finding Dory or whatever that things are, but something like that. It's called a something fish. And I ran a U-boat there. It was great. The water was perfect, and it was a good weekend. So I'm sorry you couldn't make it.
Yeah. But I do want to get out there and check out your man plot, your man campus. I don't want to call it a cave because it's a lot more than that. So
Campus is a good word. There's outbuildings and, you know, Circle got his own fire department and police department. So
how's that half scale Stuka that you just picked up? I know it's not a half scale, but I know it's pretty close. So
half scale. Are you talking about the model show?
Yeah.
That was a Fiesler Storch.
Oh, Storch. Okay.
We're talking about airplanes now for you guys.
Yep.
That
Just had a
and it was, I think it's 1/3 scale, so it's not quite half scale. Well, I crashed it. So it's fixable, but I crashed it. It was partially my own fault, but I think I had the CG a little bit off. And when I came in to land it, it didn't have enough elevator. It's coming down and I'm pulling back all the way and it didn't pull out. So it just landed really hard and busted up all the landing gear and everything. Live and learn.
Steve, where in Texas are you?
I'm in Aubrey, Texas, just about 45 miles north of Dallas. Halfway to Oklahoma. And if I duck my head just right, most of the tornadoes go past us. So
We're looking at Cleveland and Conroe in that area.
oh yeah, Conroe's I know is way down by Houston. So it's more hurricanes, much more humid, incredible population. I mean, Houston's the largest city in Texas, and it's the 4th largest in the US. So be prepared.
Well, we're looking for acreage and outside of the city for sure.
And a pond. Your friends want a pond.
Does that mean you're not moving back up here, Steve?
You know, probably not. We were just up there for 10 days for a visit, and it was just beautiful. We miss so much about the Northwest. Still have family up there and so many friends, but you know, the kids and grandkids are down here, and hey, Ed Tordall's here and Bob. I mean, it's a pretty good combination. Charlie is still there? Charlie Johnson?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. The dogs were demanding food, and I didn't think you guys wanted to listen in here to the dogs demanding food because they get fed apparently at 4 o'clock, and I'm the only one here, so I had to feed them, even though it was a little late.
You shouldn't refer to your kids as dogs, but anyway,
they are dogs. I don't have kids. I only have dogs. So.
I was curious, as soon as they announced the Subfest West, any chance any of you guys from Florida are going to try to make it?
If it's in November, it sounds like that's when I take my kids hunting. I take the dogs hunting. We start in November and December and January. We do North Carolina, South Carolina hunts and chase the rabbits and things like that. So I don't know. Gary Dickinson's on here. I think he was. Gary, you still here? He may be able to, and Luis Perez might be good contacts. I'll check with them, follow up with them, and see if any of them are interested.
Yeah, I think I unmuted. I talked to Luis. I don't think he's planning on it, and I hadn't heard any of the guys talking about going that far west. So that's
It's a long
Good
haul. It
Yeah.
is, but it'll be great to see some of the people from the West Coast at a big event like that. I want to see Tom and Jason again and Steve for sure. So
Yeah.
It'd be
Hey,
good. It'd be good.
I got a
If
question.
Mark-
Subfest in April. I've never gone to the Georgia one because it's just too far for me to go. But how big of a part of those events is the buying, selling, trading, swap meet kind of thing? I'm a wheeler dealer. I
I
can't
can
help
meet you at your house. I can meet you at your house.
it's pretty variable. This last time was pretty good. I brought more stuff to sell and trade that I intended to. Sold a boat I didn't really bring with that intention, and traded for 2 boats that I didn't know existed before that weekend. So, and it was all done with trading, and got a gorgeous sculpin, the skipjack model done by Charlie. It's just a beautiful paint job. That's what attracted me as I watched it cruise by on the pond. It's got that beautiful Cold War, light gray, dark gray paint measure on it. And I walked over and started talking to him. Next thing I know, a day or so later, I've got another boat and he's got a new radio. So it's it sure happens. It happens a lot. So I think if you were going to head down to do the one in near Vegas, definitely bring stuff. Yeah.
I was impressed. It looked like there wasn't much there. It was like a whole picnic table of items, a big long one, but there was quite a bit of stuff on there both days that I was there. Was a Friday and Saturday, and then we even did a little bit, I think, on Sunday too. But I was impressed. Bring whatever you got when you go to one of these things, and everybody kind of treats it as a clearinghouse. I thought I'd get rid of some stuff and not bring anything back, but I think I came back with as much, if not bring back more. And I gave some stuff away. I just said, look, here's some stuff from a friend that's not, he's passed. I said, let's just pick what you want. Don't grab it all and run off. I said, just get what you think you'd like. And some of the stuff was a little more valuable. So I said, well, I'll trade you when I buy this from you, so we did horse trading. I gave stuff away. People are it's real fun. There's a lot of stuff. I was impressed.
Yeah, the 2 boats I brought home and the one I left there and sold were not on the table for sale. So, it just, it's a lot of fun. And because it was kind of rainy and you didn't get quite as much runtime in it, that turned out to be a great part of the event.
And if you're given the opportunity to go swimming and rescue somebody's submarine and it's warm, you do that as fast as you can before anybody else can beat you to it. That was a real refresher.
All right. So, David Merriman.
Yeah.
Do you ever do any wheeling and dealing? I mean, I know you tend to bring a lot of subs.
Yeah.
Do you still buy stuff and sell stuff?
You mean sales?
Buying it.
No, Ellie and I confined ourselves to producing product and selling that. As far as negotiating with people, I'd rather be involved in a fist fight.
Okay. Well, sometimes that's the way the negotiating goes.
Yes. Well, I've been to enough science fiction conventions to
yeah,
I've got my scars.
Hey, David, I've found some of your older pages and stuff. You are I don't know how you do it, but you have the best. They're basically how-tos and stuff. And this is how I do it step by step. I mean, they are impressive. The photos are good. I don't know how you do it, but my compliments to you, because I've looked at that stuff and I just go, wow, it's fantastic.
Charlie, you're absolutely right. I am a frigging god.
Yes, you are, sir. We bow to you.
And humble. That's the big thing about you, David. You're humble.
He's all right.
In the words of the Hulk, puny god.
Puny god.
He's okay.
Oh man. Well, in the absence of Ellie, I've become a little unruly lately, so I still need a governor. But I appreciate the kind words, Charlie. On a serious note, I'm particularly as I get older, I appreciate the need, the obligation for attribution to acknowledge the people who taught me. And I'm starting to insist that other people, when I see somebody spouting something that's either of recent new knowledge or an old warhorse article, I invite people to give attribution to the authors that they're citing. And I want everybody in the community to be aware that we all stand on each other's shoulders, and don't be shy to acknowledge the help somebody else gave you. It didn't come to you on a golden platter from on high. It came from another human being. And I'm endeavoring to share what I've learned. And what I've learned, I learned from others. I am merely a conduit, as you are. So sorry about the little speech here, but Charlie, your nice words are appreciated. Yes, I've kind of fine-tuned techniques and things like that. I might have put a few of my own nuances to it, but it's all old knowledge that's been passed on. This is very tribal. And that's why there's nothing but old people here, because this stuff is going to die with us unless we pass it on. So we should be writing those articles, attending those Zoom meetings, and trying to get everybody else informed of what we're doing. If we don't, it dies with us.
David, I've had a question I keep meaning to ask you when I see you in person, but that's like once a year. But so a very distinguished career as a Navy torpedoman and diver. And then next thing you know, you guys are building models professionally for Hollywood. It's like, where was the school you went to in between the Navy and sci-fi to begin learning those skills? And, you know, was it shop class in high school, or where did it start?
My father was very much an artist, but he was also a pragmatist. I come from a wealthy family, and that money came from Dad and my mom because they were hard workers. Dad grew up poor, but he was smart. He was industrious, and he certainly had an artistic bent. But he became comptroller of one of the largest businesses in Detroit because he knew the money was in business administration, not art. And yet he was a sculptor, a graphic artist. I got it from him. To answer your question, schooling, no, I barely got out of high school. And my schooling was from age 5. I knew from age 5 I would always build models. Still do, have a passion for it. So I've always been a student of that craft, and I just, like a sponge, absorb everything I can. Books of P.C. Coker. I meet the man, I talk to him, I pick his brains, and that's true with all the acknowledged craftsmen in this discipline. So the Navy, it was a paycheck. And I only got into submarines and diving because I was bored. But I was also a loose cannon. And I wouldn't be the model builder I'd become without a governor. And that was this little island princess I picked up along the way. She whipped me in the line, and she gave me the discipline to pursue my passion rationally. And she said, the money is all these defense contractors, you can build their stuff. And we took it from there, and we made a lot of money. And well, anyway, this is not the David Merriman show, but that's the long and short. I've always had a passion for model building from age 5. There you go.
Don't you have models?
When's the book come out?
I've been writing a goddamn book for the last 20 years. You guys can look it up on the net. God,
we'll have to have somebody assemble it all for you so you can sign them when next time we see you. All your pages.
Fine. $20 a signature. Kelly taught me that too.
That'll be a
Wait for the-
lifetime job for somebody.
Wait for the movie. He's trying to get Tom Cruise to play him in the movie. So
That's a good book, David.
I can see the resemblance.
Oh, Coker's book. Yes, yes. Now,
Just send me money openly. Just send me money.
you send me money. Yeah. Patreon, right?
Throw it at my feet. What the tribute? Tribute to the king.
Yeah, I settle for Mountain Dew. That's okay. But anyway, enough
You were
about-
talking about people coming to the Subfest West. I was just talking to Will Odemeyer. I don't know if anybody knows who Will is.
Yeah.
He's amazing with piston tanks and what he does. He says he wants to be there. As a side note, his wife just passed away, so that's a little sad note. I believe Jeff Porteous will be coming. At least that's what I understood. I hope I'm right. So I think we're going to have several people from the West Coast coming over.
Yeah, those are two big wheels.
There's also the run in San Francisco in September, correct?
Correct.
So I was going to try to get to that one too.
I was going to try to get to that one as well. I heard last year they only had 6 people there, which is kind of surprising and disappointing. But I'm going to try making it this year if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot to talk about, huh?
I got a question. If there's an awkward silence. So Bob's latest video, which came out this morning, and for some reason I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I watched it already. Logan was unpacking one of those Thunder Tiger Neptunes, and he said something about, this is the one we were going to use for our contest. And then he said, oh, wait a minute, maybe not the contest. Do any of you know what that was about? Are they having some kind of Neptune modifying contest?
I think he was going to take suggestions from people and pick one and run with it. Not that anybody's going to get anything from it. It was just more notoriety that you're the one that selected what they're going to make it look like.
Yeah, it was a challenge, not a contest.
Okay, he said contest, so suddenly I thought, maybe I've got a Neptune lurking in the background that came from Steve O'Connell, and it completely works. But
that's where it went.
Yeah, that was a big, that day when you moved to Texas. For those that don't know, I live in Washington. Steve O'Connell used to live fairly close to me. When he moved away, I bought a whole bunch of boats from him. So
he did several of which I had bought from Bob and sold to Jason, who sold them to Bob.
Well, I fixed a bunch of them.
No doubt. You would have had to, but
working. Yeah, the Thunder Tiger I got working, but I've never really done anything with it. And I'm not as likely to do something as fanciful as what Bob does with them, making them into airplane themed things and stuff. But I don't know, something interesting. I like the idea of a contest.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them modified up to look like a really serious research submersible and a little bit less toy-like, and they turn out really nice. And it lends itself to that thing's behavior. So
I saw one somewhere that somebody had modified to look like the submarine from the James Bond movie For Your Eyes Only, which I think might have been called Neptune or something like that. It was something similar. And I thought that was a really cool idea.
Yeah, that was nice. Well done.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty good looking little model if you could get some claws on the front that might look like whatever they do something, and then you could get that front part. And there was a movie some years ago about a submarine that sank, and these people went down to get it, and the codes off of it, and then there was like some sort of alien underwater creatures living there, but they had the person in the front, and you could see the person moving around inside from the outside view of the submarine.
So you're talking about the
abyss?
Yes, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that would be kind of neat looking with
they
like an operator.
They had the little subs they called Cab 1 and Cab 2, and then there was one they called Flatbed that was sort of the work sub. And that's probably the one you're thinking of. There was a big chase with flatbed and one of the cabs.
Yeah, there was a plastic kit of that one. It was like a little, submersible pickup truck. It was pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, it was the most on-hydrodynamic thing you ever saw.
Jason wants to RC it now.
Where do I find this?
Walk on top.
I had no idea there was a kit of that setup.
Yeah, I remember got it for my son when he was little and he built it. So it was some time ago, but God, my little boy turns 40 this next month. So
wow.
Yeah, it's sad. Anyhow.
Holy cow, speaking of that, it's the anniversary of the movie of Jaws. And I bring it to mind because my dogs got me a t-shirt that says Jaws with the poster on it. I wore it out to the restaurant the other night and everybody was like, yeah, hey, oh, I remember all that stuff. But when I was growing up in St. Petersburg, Florida, we'd always go out to the Fort DeSoto Park and go swimming out there. And then I saw that movie and I suddenly realized that, as Robbie Rhodes, a country DJ out here in Jacksonville, says, you become part of the food chain again. So after Jaws, I really don't like going in the water very much, swimming around when I can't. And over here in Jacksonville, the water's kind of murky, so you can't see what you're dealing with a lot of times. But anyhow, just had to throw that in there. Don't know why.
The 50th anniversary was yesterday.
It's a great movie.
Did you have a fin for your skipjack at one time?
What's that?
David, didn't he put a shark fin on top of a skipjack one time, I seem to recall?
Yeah, Ellie made me put that away. I found out that I could clear a public swimming pool in 10 seconds flat.
And that was before Bob's Robo Shark.
They asked us to leave. So
I'm shocked. Why would they do that?
What do you think you're so?
There's a guy who used to run swimming pools, and Baby Ruth would do the same thing just as quick.
That's right.
Even faster when you find out it's not a Baby Ruth.
Jason, an RC Baby Ruth.
Yeah.
I don't remember eating any corn.
Yeah.
Just look how badly this all devolves in the absence of adult supervision.
So what sub went down? What sub was lost that Bob's trying to hunt? You know?
Virginia.
Yeah, apparently it was the one I sold him at Subfest. I actually bought it from him. I took it home, made a bunch of modifications to it, and added some stuff, and then sold it back to him. He wanted to take it to the next step, which I didn't, which was to clean it up and put a fresh paint job on it. And he was really interested in trying modifying the what I call the steering pump, which was the water jet across the rudder to try to tighten up the turning circle. And the pump I had put in was too small. He put in a much larger bilge pump. You saw that on some of his videos a couple of weeks ago. So this would have been the first time in a large body of water to really try that. So he said it ran fine for a while and then disappeared. I like the weed theory. That boat was pretty solid. It was a good OTW cylinder, and much as I dislike them, when they're all buttoned up right, they're pretty solid.
I saw one some time ago. I don't remember when it was, but somebody's boat got hit by a pipe and it took the back end of it apart. This was about 7-10 years ago. I saw it posted on, I think, Subcommittee or something like that. Somebody was showing some pictures of the boat pretty mangled up. You think that might have been an issue there?
I don't know. If it is, it'll be the last time I drive 4 hours to run in that pond.
Yeah, you troll some, put some bait on the back on a string and see if you catch anything. They use those things, boats, for sharks. Run them out there, and then they pop the stuff off the back of the model boat and drop the hook out where they want it. So,
and of course, you're going to need a bigger boat than that. So anyhow.
Yeah. So who's building what?
I'm not really building at the moment. I acquired an Angle Type 7, and I'm kind of refurbishing it, going through it and fixing things up. So hopefully I'll get to run that soon.
Bronco 23.
Oh, I just this afternoon got the Master Model Works 177, I think it is, Disney Nautilus, absolutely running and trimmed out pretty good. I got a little bit to do with getting some of those glowing lights connected, the LED set that I put in it, and getting the rudder linkage properly connected. But I got it up and running, and I got it ballasted, and it seems to be doing okay. Got a outrunner motor on it, and that thing moves, and unfortunately it wants to dive as it moves, so I either got to just drive it slower or figure that out. Oh no, yeah, I want a Disney that will cut something in half if it gets in the way. So
I know Bob's
maybe I
kicked
need a
around.
bigger one.
Bob's kicked around the idea of building an RC sailing ship that you could hit with a Disney Nautilus and cut it in half and make it sink and then miraculously resurrect so you could do it again. So,
well, that one's actually, this one's a little small for all the fun stuff in it. I mean, it's pretty much just drive it around right now the way it is and live with it and get something bigger later when I finish my other stuff.
Hey Ken, you said you're doing a Bronco 23, and which cylinder are you going to use on that?
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
That was it. One of David's.
Oh, okay. So I think I saw somebody had put in one of the R&R ones into that, and that's the boat I have, that Maximus model bow piston tank that I think is like stressing the hull. I was thinking stupidly about switching it to a conventional cylinder, but I think it'd be easier to move that boat down the road and start over with a regular cylinder. I really like the R&Rs. They're in a pretty decent little design.
I do have a cylinder from Bob that I bought before David gave me a cylinder. It's the type of cylinder. I guess he must have stopped making the cylinders with Jason just before that. It has a three different compartment, 3 different cylinders that mate together. But David said, get a real cylinder.
I was finally able to get the stabilization off the radios to work on my my 212 with the X stern on it. So I could do a regular cruciform stern fairly easily with the stabilization, but it was the trying to get the V mix for airplanes to work on an X stern for the 212. I can't get it to work with bow planes yet, with Bauer sailplanes yet. So that's the next thing I'm trying to figure out.
Rick, what were you showing?
But what's up?
Well, Rick was showing a tube, a cylinder.
It was just a dinosaur adjustable ballast system made by D&E Miniature about 1,000 years ago. Still here, still there.
Oh,
it came out of a 72nd Alpha.
Yeah, back when the Earth was still warm.
All that hairspray you've been using, eh, buddy? I just used Carnauba.
You look like you fell into a belt sander.
I just got this.
Nobody's hiring me for Mr. Clean Ads anymore.
Yeah, Brad, what do you got?
I got a brand new peristatic pump from eBay this week. Anybody use this one yet?
Peristaltic pump.
Like $7 on eBay.
All right. Have you measured how much current it draws under load?
Just got it yesterday, so testing will come up for next DiveTribe.
All right. Put an ammeter on that thing and dunk one end into water and see how much current it's pulling. You might be disappointed.
Hook it up to one of the blood pressure cuffs, Brad, and see how long it takes to inflate it too, and if it burns the gears out of it.
Good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, before you commit it to a submarine or something, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how
Might
many
be a
guys.
real short duty cycle.
Speaking of amp draw, I don't know how many guys are using the Free Sky radios, but I've started trying to shoehorn in the amp sensor on my boats, and it's really kind of cool because you always wonder, well, how much am I drawing here? And it was nice with that Virginia, when it was in my test tank for the first time, I could run both pumps and the drive motor and note what the current draw was, which helped me size, circuit breakers and stuff like that for and just to know that this is what it's drawing in water, actual conditions, more or less. I mean, the hull's not moving, so the drive motor draw is probably slightly different, but still, it gives me a really sharp idea of how to size stuff for it, including things we don't talk about much, like wire sizing. I don't like big fat wires because we don't need big fat wires generally. You can do a lot with an 18 gauge wire. You can probably do everything with a 16 gauge wire, unless you've got monster boats like what Bob had down in Georgia. But anyway, just being able to see that on your transmitter, look at my battery voltage and the current draw. And it also, they have versions that you can use if you've got a multi-cell LiPo, and you can plug that in and it'll show you on your transmitter the individual cell voltages as well, of course, the aggregate. So it's nice to get information back that to me, I'm a tinker fiddle guy, so I like that level of information.
Steve, on that boat, what was your typical high current draw with servos, motors, and everything?
I would have to go pull my notes up. They're not here on my desk, but each pump drew about 3.25 amps full load. I think one was a little less than that. And the drive motor, surprisingly, for being as big as it was also about 3.5. I think I wound up about 12 aggregate. And that's assuming you turned on the steering pump, the ballast pump, and full speed ahead, which is not a likely occurrence. So I was sizing for a maximum, like a 15 amp resettable circuit breaker on it.
Yeah, a thermal reset?
Yes.
Okay.
I started, I see, remember, I learned so many ways not to build a submarine. One of them was don't put fuses in your ballast system, because when it gets wet, they short out and die and your fail safes no longer can work. So you go get a diver. So, but I started using the auto reset circuit breakers in tugboats, which was a great place to test the idea. And it was really, really nice. I mean, you could size it so it could handle full throttle on, in my case, a twin screw boat, which is a lot in a tugboat if you've got it built correctly. And then actually be able to push it too far and have it cut the motors out. You wait a couple of seconds and then it's re-engaged again. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, what you got to do is, I usually, when I do an install, I always, and this goes back to submarine qualifications, you have your primary loop, which is the main bus, and that's right from your battery, and then you discrete that down, usually at 5 volts, to what we call hotel services, and you want your ballast system on hotel services and no fuses between source and the components in that subsystem. So you don't circuit protect your ballast system, but yeah, your motors, fine. You can go without those, but if you lose the ability to blow ballast, well, what was the point? It's not like landing a storage, is it there?
It's not all your fault. They have spindly little landing gear anyway.
Yeah, how dare they? That thing flies slower than a kite. How can you preen that thing? You're muted. I want to hear your retort.
Yeah.
Jason, you're muted. We want to hear your words.
You're wasting it.
I said this was a 112-inch wingspan model, and there was a lot of people watching me, and I was super nervous. So yeah, I probably fumbled it a little bit.
Stage fright.
Yeah, I freely admit it.
I've been there.
Oh heck, I've buried so many airplanes into the dirt. That's why I got out of the hobby. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
The process is called re-kitting.
Yeah.
Kidding.
I T-boned a Mustang into a big giant cement telephone pole one time. I mean, I smacked it square into it, and I swear that thing slid down like the Wile E. Coyote stuff. One, I was just stunned.
Yeah, that's why I got into tugboats instead of flying, because if I got to go take a leak, I can just sit the transmitter on the ground and the boat will stop in the middle of the pond and not instantly explode or something. So then I decided, oh, submarines seem pretty safe.
Yeah, let's buy this submarine from the Acme company. Yeah.
There you go. There's your Neptune modification, the Wile E. Coyote Acme submarine.
Acme submarines with anvil kill markings, right? Oh shit.
What's that sticker you can put on your car when you got a dent? It shows the coyote all splatted on it.
Right up against it. Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, anybody got anything else?
I got a question for Tom. So you mentioned the Engel Type 7. Did you buy that used from somebody?
Most of the models we get are used. Yes, yeah, it is used. This was Mike Dory's Type 7. Will Odemeyer built it originally, which is the sub is the one that made Will want to quit the whole hobby, because he redid it from the way that Engel has it set up. It ran beautiful when it had it running, but it's been sitting for several years. Mike, didn't use it, so I got to clean it up.
So it was a running sub at one point, and then abandoned for some time, and now it needs sort of a reworking.
Yeah, it was a freaking great running sub. That thing, that's so beautiful in the water. I'm looking forward to getting it going again.
So I'm pretty familiar with them. I got one sitting on the floor next to me, and this would be my second one. It is a nightmare to work on because it's so cramped inside that, what they call the tech rack. Very, very clever, but very complicated.
Yeah. And you just got it. You can only put things in just so.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no wiggle room.
None.
Well, and that's what Will was fed up with, is he tried building it stock and it was just a nightmare for him. And so he went ahead and redesigned it using a lot of what Engel has, but just repositioning and different wiring. And so
it's the electronics so complex. There's just a lot to go wrong as well.
And it has to be their board. There's no alternatives. You either go with their system or you got to gut it.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to sign off. You guys have fun.
All right.
Yeah, good
See you, David.
Good chatting, guys. Take it easy.
Good to see
I'm out of
everybody.
here.
They all.
See you guys. Keep the shiny side up or the bubbly side up, whatever it is for motorcycles and submarines.
Or stay on this side of the dirt.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom,
Better to stomp them down than push them up.